How are you, sir? What's new?
Nothing. Just hanging out. Waiting to go work out. Act like I care about my physical condition on some level.
I think you always care about you always care about your physical appearance.
Yeah, not as much as some other people do, but
Yeah.
I mean, like, so yesterday I had to go into the office for the first time in like a year to get my mugshot taken for the paper. And,
Okay.
I still contend it's all because Baker got a new haircut and lost some LB, so he's looking better. He wants a new mugshot. And I looked at the pictures they took of me, and I look terrible. It's like, how they, like, how a president ages quick, like, with the two presidents we've had recently, you can't tell the difference because they were both old to start with. But, like,
Yeah.
Obama aged, in the 8 years. I feel like that's me. I feel like
Yeah.
I have aged significantly.
I don't think you. Whatever you do, hey, I'm gonna on air produce for you. Whatever you're doing with your mic, just get the static off of it.
What?
I don't know what you're doing.
I haven't done a thing with it.
I don't know. It just feels. It sounds so.
Does that sound better?
No, that sounds worse.
Does that sound better?
Whatever.
No, because that picks up the
sound-
background. Like, I don't. What do you want me?
I don't know what you've done with it,
I
but
didn't do a
it's
thing with it.
you know what though, I'm glad this is happening since we're doing it
I
live.
think it's because it's live. My guess is it's your fault.
It's not my fault. Don't blame me.
Oh yeah.
This is on you. Well, we'll work through the technical difficulties. It's okay.
I don't. Yeah.
You don't hear it in
No,
your
I
headsets.
absolutely hear it, but like, I absolutely hear it, but like, it's all I got is I have it plugged in. I don't know.
All right. Plug it out. You can take it out and just go on your computer. Maybe that would sound even better. Now he has completely cut himself off. This is why I'm glad we've done this. There you go.
How's this?
It's way better. Way better.
Okay.
I'm so glad that we figured this out. That was so much way better.
So do you want me to complain some more about having to get my mugshot taken and how old I look and how weathered I look?
No, I want you to talk about the baseball team last night. This is I think we're on episode 160 with you. The great Ryan Divish, who joins us every single week. And Divish is, of course, brought to you by Chalet Bowl. Shout out to Reggie Frederick and Chalet Bowl that bring you Ryan Divish every single week. They couldn't, I'll get back to the mugshot because I do want to hear more about that. But they couldn't pull out another miracle yesterday, could they? I mean, they had the first three, but they couldn't do the next one.
Yeah, no. I was listening to a former station. You and I were both on.
Yes.
And the interim host was talking about how Josh Rojas should have tried to turn a double play. I can't. There's no way. He had no chance. It was a slow roller. He had to charge so hard to get it to cut down the distance that if he has to throw across his body and try and get the out at second, and then the odds of turning that double play are, I'm not going to go.
Oh, but slim to none. Do you think he had a shot at home? I mean, I didn't think he had a shot at home.
He made the one play that he could make. And the one thing is if you don't get an out in that situation, you're probably giving up 2 runs.
Yeah.
So get an out some way.
Yeah, he was in a tough situation. I'm with you. I don't think anything that he did last night warranted any criticism. He made the right play. You can even he got it. He looks right at home real quick. He knows that he couldn't make the play, and he goes to first. Yeah, I got no problems with
because he charged the ball to cut down the distance on because it wasn't hit very hard.
Right.
So how are you? So you're charging forward, and then you want him to throw across his body to second base in hopes of turning a double play. And granted, Andrew Vaughn does not run very well, but the risk reward, because again, you're giving up a run in that situation. But the risk reward is if you don't get any outs and you give up more than one, logically you think with a runner on second to start an inning in the bottom of the inning, you can get at least one run to tie it and keep the game going.
Right.
They couldn't do that, but yeah, I didn't for 1 second, I watched that play, think, oh yeah, he should throw to second and try and get the double play. He either had one play. It was either at home or at first, and he didn't have a play at home because the guy was running on contact and the ball wasn't hit very hard.
That is Ryan Divish. It is episode 161 with Ryan Divish. His weekly appearance is brought to you by Chalet Bowl, Washington's oldest operating bowling alley, established in 1941, located in Tacoma's Proctor District. Family owned and operated 40 years. The Frederick family and staff specializes in customer service for your bowling, food, and fun experience while at their unique 12-lane facility. Go to chaletbowl.com to make your next reservations. Divish is on the road. He is up at, where are you doing the show from today?
I'm at the UW Tacoma Y.
Okay, UW Tacoma Y. You're going to get a workout in, maybe run a little 5-on-5. What are we doing?
Yeah, no, it looks like Malachi Flynn and some of the college players that are here that live in Tacoma and pro players that live in Tacoma are doing workouts on the court. So
okay. So
I'm going to go
pick that up and go give it a shot.
I'm going to go find some pink weights and do like a hit from YouTube. Last time I played pickup hoops here, I stepped on Isaiah Thomas's foot and shredded my meniscus a little bit more than it already was. Took the last remaining shreds and turned them sideways.
Look at this hard copy. Great story today. Look at that. Great story you did. Let me angle it up. Yeah. Great story on Jay Buhner, Buzz Knight. Wonderful job there, Ryan Divish of the Seattle. Get yourself a hard copy, folks. Go get pay the money, get yourself a hard copy. It just feels better there in your hands. And then they honored him last night, did they, Jay Buhner, by striking out 19 times. I thought that was nice.
Yeah, that was interesting. I mean, everybody's, they got to fix the strikeouts. How? That's what they do. Some days it'll be better. Some days it's not going to be good. And Crochet was really good.
Well, that's just they strike out. I mean, that's it, right? You're 100% right. I mean, there's no way at this point in the season they're going to be able to fix that or rectify their strikeouts. It's just who they are. It's how they've been constructed. It's just how they've been built.
Yeah, I mean, if you think they're just going to start choking up and squatting low and getting the old Pete Rose stance to slap it to right, they're just not going to do that.
God, I love
it's
that, though.
Also, every time Riz says, they just got to punch that ball to right field, he should pay me $1.
You can't talk shit about Riz. Leave Riz alone.
Come on, he always says that all the time. I'm like, it's 98.
Hey, is there a way the Mariners could just acquire 3 of the White Sox players? Luis Robert Jr., Crochet, and then I would like Kopech. Can we get all 3? Is there a way to pull off all 3?
No, I'm not dealing with no man buns from Kopech. So.
Well, he throws hard, and they need some help in the bullpen.
Yeah. He throws hard, but it's pretty straight, and he gets hit more than you think.
I know he does, but
Crochet is
Jesus.
Good. I mean, Crochet is going to run into the same things as Wu. I mean, he's never really thrown a lot in his career, thrown a lot of innings in his career because of injuries and other stuff. I mean, he was a reliever for his first two MLB seasons. But man, if he doesn't throw the changeup to Tyler Locklear, it's a 7 shutout.
Yeah, and that you noted that was the only time he threw the changeup last night.
Yeah. It was like, you're kind of like Bull Durham again. Like, go ahead, throw it if you want to throw it. But yeah, he didn't throw it again. He didn't need to. I mean, he threw, I think he had 91 pitches. I think he threw 70.
70s. I think you said 76 four-seam fastballs.
Yeah. And then it was 102 pitches.
Freeze up on us.
What? I'm not freezing up.
You froze up for a quick second. It's okay. You're back with us.
102 pitches. I think 71 four-seam fastballs, and they were cooking. And the thing is, he's got that weird leg kick. Like the old school Sandy Koufax, weird leg kick and some deception. And you could just see how late guys were on the fastballs. Like they're trying, they know it's coming. They just don't see it well. And then it's right on top of you. People go, that's right in the zone. I don't give a shit if it's in the strike zone or not. It's 98. It's hard to pick up.
Did you see, my favorite part of last night's game was when Savala complained about where the pitch was, and then they show it on the tracer. And God bless Dave Sims. Even Sims like, I don't know about that one. And then they show it. It's like right in the strike zone. Blauer's like, oh, that's a strike.
Yeah.
I mean, it's right in the box. There's no complaining about it. And then, of course, I knew he was going to do it in the 9th inning because of all you scolded me for even bringing up whether or not is Julio Rodriguez clutch or not. I got Julio's fan club yelling at me nonstop on social media, and of course he hits a home run out of right field. Now it wasn't a game-winning home run though.
Yeah, no, yeah. If you want to, I mean, I got other guys like, well, he's not, he's like, oh, he's not clutch. He struck out 4 times before that or whatever. I'm like, look. All I'm saying is in that moment they needed something to happen. He made it happen. I'm not saying it happens every time. I'm not saying he's had a good year. He hasn't. But I think the idea that he fails in key moments, I don't know that he fails any more than anyone else. He might actually succeed more than anyone else in terms of at least not making an out. It's kind of like Jordan. We don't remember any of the shots that Jordan missed to win the game.
Sure.
And he missed a bunch of them. We remember poor Craig Elo, or pushing off on what's the guy from Utah.
Oh,
we don't. I mean, there's been plenty of games where same with Kobe or whatever.
Yeah, but I think to count. Let me, if I may, just counter that point. Julio doesn't have a lot of those game-winning moments, though. No, he hasn't. He hasn't had those, and that's kind of the difference being, I guess, in basketball versus baseball is, basketball you have the ball in your hands and you can kind of control it. Baseball you don't. You're reliant on the other pitcher on the defense doing something to allow you to be the hero. But yeah, he hasn't had the moments like he should or probably expects. But down the road he will. I think it'll get easier. Look at Cal Raleigh. I think it's been, and even last night, I'm thinking, okay, they finally get Crochet out of the game, and they bring in this Brebbia guy, and Scott Service couldn't get Raleigh and Raleigh, the law firm, up to pinch hit fast enough. But they struck out and popped out. So it happens. They're going to strike out. I got to remind myself, and I think it was and I'll steal a line from the great Chris Crawford, and he said, hey, we got to remind ourselves a lot that he's only 23 years of age.
Yeah.
I sometimes, not sometimes, I do. I lose sight of that with him.
23 years of age, never played a game of AAA, did he?
You tell me. I don't think he did. No.
I don't. Well, unless it was on a rehab assignment or something, he never played a game of AAA. He went to the big leagues from AA in a year where nobody expected him to make the big leagues coming out of camp. He does it. He exceeded all expectations. So I still think there's some growing pains, some identity, like figuring out his identity. And then, I'm sure if you held him to a polygraph, he would say that some of the swing changes and stuff that he made this offseason were a mistake.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not like, and it's results-based analysis. I'm sure the thinking in it that went into it and the reasoning why had some legitimacy. When he talked about it, it was just like being under control, not having his head move as much, all these things. Like, it all made sense in the thinking behind it, maybe even in the process, but it's just different once you get to games, and it wasn't working. So then he had to readjust in season, which is one of the hardest things to do.
Yeah. Let's get to Bryan Woo. What do we know? What is the latest on Bryan Woo? Do we expect him back in the rotation next week?
Yeah, I'd expect him to start in Cleveland. I don't know how that would slot out, if it's the first game or the second, but that's my expectation, is to have him. He'll pitch in Cleveland, provided he doesn't have any more injury issues or the arm feels okay. He can do he can throw his midweek bullpen. I would assume once he throws that bullpen, then they'll slot it out 2 or 3 days after that. But they sent down Emerson Hancock right now. So, he made a nice start. He gave them 7 innings, allowed 2 runs, and he'll go back down. So that, to me, that their thinking is like, yeah, Woo's going to make that next start. Now, they can always bring Hancock back if they have to put Woo on the injured list. Like, let's say he throws his bullpen, just doesn't feel right again. They can put Woo on the injured list and bring Hancock back, and it'll be similar time. So 5 or 6 days from now is what I would assume, just so they can keep Hancock on the same time frame.
Now, this might be stupid just because of the situation there with Woo. Could Hancock be on the move at some point as we get closer to the deadline?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, they have Jonathan Diaz too.
Right.
I mean, I did ask if they would switch Logan Evans back to starting, and Hollander said no. They're going to keep him as a reliever. So, Yeah, I mean, that's possible. I don't know that, like, to me, Emerson's been good this year, better than I expected, but I don't know that he brings you back a lot. Yeah, if it was in a package of players. But the Mariners have some other pitchers, in their system that they could package in a deal if they were looking to make it out of bat and a team wanted starting pitchers. They have kind of like lower level ones, because really the guy, like if you're trading with the White Sox, they don't need guys that are MLB ready right now. That team is 2 or 3 years away from being good. 4, 5, 6.
Yeah, no, I mean, you're right. No, for sure. Okay, I want to get back to Woo for a second here. On Wednesday's show, we talked just about this, and I said no, I'm not going to ask you about the bullpen, and I'm not going to ask you about whether or not Woo should go in the bullpen now, not this season. But do you think when they get to the offseason with him, because when they get in the playoffs, I'm going to assume they're in the playoffs, but when they get in, he's not going to pitch, he's not going to start, so he is going to come out of the bullpen. Do you think they revisit the idea of him being in the bullpen? He's got 2 pitches. I know he throws the changeup, so he's got 3, but he really only primarily has 2 pitches that he throws. Ryan, he has had this inability to really stay healthy. You noted the other day he has not pitched a lot in his career. Going back to college, I think you even said high school, and now in the professional ranks. Is it something that you think that they will revisit once this season is over?
Maybe. I mean, they could look at it and see how he comes out of the bullpen. But again, like, bullpen outings in the postseason are a hell of a lot different than bullpen outings in the regular season, because you have to be, bullpen outings in the postseason. There's days off. There's scheduled days off. You can project. You can use it. It's different versus in the regular season where you got to be available 6 out of the 7 days to pitch.
Right.
If you pitch, how you ever space it out. And the idea of him, to me, the idea of him being able to pitch on back-to-back days or even 3 out of 4 days, I don't see how that makes his elbow any better or the forearm issues any better. I think there's some, they'll look at it, and I think they're trying to figure out a way to just kind of make him feel right in between starts and make that arm recover quicker. And I think that's, you exhaust all possibilities as a starter.
Sure.
Until, like, it forces you to be a reliever. Because maybe not as much success this year, but, like, the Mariners have been able to find relievers or make good relievers, some reclamation projects and stuff like that. So I think, you wait till the last possible minute, because there are other guys in their organization, like this Troy Taylor kid and even Ty Cumming, that could be relievers that down the road that profile as relievers, and they're not converting a starter that way.
Yeah. Has Woo ever talked about it at all? Has it ever been brought up to him? And maybe you wouldn't do it now, but maybe spring training, ever broached with the idea of coming out of the bullpen?
No, not really. I mean, like, I think for some people, like, the thought was that, like, because he hadn't thrown a lot in his career, that somehow and he had the Tommy John early,
right,
that maybe it would keep him healthier. Like, he wasn't that travel ball guy throwing 140 every other weekend, But I don't know. I mean, it's hard to say what they're going to do in that situation. I mean, he did throw 123 innings combined last year, I think. That's a lot.
Yeah,
he jumped from 60 to 123, essentially. He doubled. I think, the wear and tear of last season, I think, is part of the reason we're seeing some issues this year. I mean, even if you have all that time to recover, like, that's a lot.
Yeah, that is combined. I mean, they look at it differently, right? When I was looking at it the other day, I'm looking at the 87 innings that he threw with the Mariners. Do they evaluate those innings differently compared major league innings and then to minor league innings?
Yeah, because, like, you can control you can control the minor league innings a little bit. And I mean, like, early on, he's still throwing innings. Like, it's not like in spring training where they can just kill the inning, or pull him and then put him back in. But yeah, they are a little different. Either way, I mean, 87 innings, and at the MLB level, you could say those are probably higher stress, and those count more in your total than anything else, especially when you've never done it before,
right,
like your first time at the big leagues. So I don't know. I mean, like, I think. I think they're just going to try and keep him as a starter and see if the process of in between starts and coming out of starts can be cleaned up or fixed to where he doesn't feel this moving forward.
What is it? What is he grappling with or not being able to get ready in between those innings? What is he doing? What's his routine? Do you know what it is? And what is he trying to do?
Well, I mean, I think he's just trying to do a similar routine to most players, and just, you throw the day after, light toss, and kind of build up to the bullpen, and you have, whether some guys long toss a little bit more.
Yeah, but isn't Ryan? Let me jump in. Sorry to interrupt, but what isn't his issue in between, like in the innings in the game? Isn't that what he's talked about the most often?
No, not. He talked about that once.
Okay.
He's had some forearm stiffness forearm tightness or stiffness when they've had like extended breaks. Like the Mariners put together a big inning or whatever, and he sits for a long time, and those are pretty rare. But like the last couple times, it's been after he comes out of the start. The next day it's tight, and then when he gets ready to throw his midweek bullpen or his in-between start bullpen, it doesn't feel right. It still feels tightness or some fatigue or soreness or whatever, like it's in the forearm area. So then they just kind of say, well, then don't do that. Like they don't want you throwing off the mound when you don't feel right. So I think that's what the last few times have been. It's just like it just doesn't feel right or feel 100% when he comes out. Whereas, 2 days after a start, you should be able to, play normal catch and kind of get on the mound, throw at 80% to kind of keep the feel of your pitches. And he wasn't able to do that a couple times.
Okay, let's pivot now to Luis Robert Jr. I was begging for them not to let him get on the plane and leave. He clearly can show he can hit in this ballpark. It doesn't bother him. Let's go back to the asking price for him here in about a month span. And I think you noted this on Wednesday or even last week. Do you think it's something similar to what you said about Vlad Guerrero? Or what do you think the price is to acquire Luis Robert Jr.? And do you think it's a good fit for Seattle?
Yeah, it's kind of like the sliding scale almost. Like with Vlad, you have this year and then next year, and it's a little bit more money. With like Robert, it's 2.5 years or 3.5 years. There's some option years, and then the options are club options are kind of spendy at $20 million, but like early on, it's not like cost prohibitive. So like and the difference being like Vlad posts and he plays every day, whereas like Robert's been hurt. So that's
right.
Like your sliding scale. The crazy hot scale that they use for girls. You're here. You can be this.
So
if you're this hot, you can be this crazy.
Sure. You can be hot and crazy, and like you're hot.
Yeah. So they call that the Tawny Katane theorem.
Oh, I love. Oh man, come on.
So
Tawny Katane was hot back in the day.
Yeah. So I think.
Hey, timeout. Is she still with us?
No, she's not.
That's right. She passed away, right?
Yeah.
Well, rest in peace.
Yeah. Somewhere David Coverdale weeps. Or is relieved. Chuck Finley.
Yeah. It was Chuck Finley. Didn't she damage his car? What did she do to Chuck Finley?
I think she...
Didn't she assault him?
Yeah, she hit him with some sort of implement, maybe a bat.
A bat. I think it was a bat. I think she hit him with a bat.
Yeah, he had to miss a start because she beat him up, and then she went after like his Corvette or something.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And I think tried to start it on fire. I don't know.
Okay, so let me get back to Luis Robert Jr. Okay, is Harry Ford still involved in a trade?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Because like that's 2 or 3 years down the road. Is it Celestine or is it,
Is it Emerson? Does it take Ford and Emerson and someone else to get Luis Robert Jr.?
I mean, that's what they're going to ask for. You always ask for the moon.
Sure.
In case somebody's dumb enough to give it to you. But, like, I think the Mariners know, like, if they really want Robert, it's going to be Ford. It's probably going to be one of the infielders.
Okay.
Maybe it's like, maybe if you're the Mariners, you try and goose it by saying, like, you go fantasy baseball route where it's like, you give more, but not as high quality. So, like, say they give Ford, but they're willing to give up, like, Ty Pete and this Michael Arroyo kid who are good prospects, but not top 100, plus maybe a pitcher. You go the quantity over, like, the high quality. I I don't know that the White Sox are dumb enough to do that with their new GM. Previous GM, maybe. So, that's the thing. And I mean, and to some people's point, like you can sit there. Some people say, well, like, oh, you don't want to give up any prospects. Well, that's not logical. But you don't. Another person sit there and say, well, I don't care, give them all up. Well, that's not logical either. And it's not just to follow the 54% theorem of like, I mean, you don't want to gut it to the point where what you do to try and win kills you for the future. Even if you trust your draft and development guys a lot, there's a breaking point where the ask is too much, and it's like what you're willing to pay for beer at a game. I have yet to reach that breaking point. After the Pearl Jam concert where it was $40 for 2 beers, $45 for 2 beers. But there is a breaking point where you just say, okay, that's enough. We'll move on.
You know what? It's $15 for me. It's $15. I'm out. I'm just out. I'm just not. I'm not going to pay it anymore. It's stupid.
So it's just like, it's like when you go to a Belltown bar and order a Crown on the Rocks. It's like $17. I'm like, this ain't Vegas, bro. What club are we in? I didn't know I was in the VIP room.
Yeah, it's terrible.
I can't even believe I said Belltown because I don't know if I've ever been to a bar in Belltown.
Have you never been to Belltown Pizza? Come on. Sea Sound Lounge.
I mean, Ballard gets a little thrifty. That's why I go to the Locking. That's why I go to the Lock and Keel because it's cheap.
I believe that's closing.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh no.
One of them is closing. What's the one next door? The two Irish bars that always have the live music. One of them's closing, and I think it is
Lock and Keel. Oh, that hurts me.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Like, so with Robert, like, there's a point of no return, and I don't know. Like, to me, we can sit there. It's like people are like, oh, they're debating this and that, and some people like complaining about Robert's strikeouts. Again, that's the good with the bad. I mean, like, the players you get, the players that are available, there's a reason why they're available. Either their team really sucks, or there's a reason why they don't want to move forward with them. I mean, there's like with Vlad or whatever, there's contract. With Robert, his team sucks, his health, like he's not a part of this. But yeah, I mean, like, I think to me it's so funny. It's like, because I was debating this with Adam and Larry. We're writing about this, and Adam's, I like
Listener
Adam
and
Stone.
viewer, these are Adam, Jude, and Larry Stone, by the way.
And like, I liked Adam's story, and I thought it was well done, and he made some good points. But like, to me, anything that we've expected them to do, along the lines of trades or free agents, they don't come close to that because Jerry and Justin go in a different way. One, because they're working with parameters that we don't know about, whether it's budgetary or whatever. So, like, I mean, and then, like, we talk with, holy cow, I'm looking at Alex Akita is walking in this gym.
Well, how about that? Get Akita on here. I mean, come on.
He's like, that guy's sweating walking.
Well, yeah. Is he going to go run some basketball? Can't wait.
Yeah, I know. He looked like he just came from Buhner Buzzcut night. But no.
For Robert, let me ask you about this. Okay, he's the knock on him. Get past the strikeouts for a second, but the knock on him is the health. What about hustle, motivation, work ethic? What's that like?
I think it's okay. I mean, like, I don't know for certain. I don't have anybody saying, oh, he's a dog or anything like that. Yeah. I think also you get on this team and you're playing for something, it matters. I mean, like, the thing is just if you get him on the field, he hit 38 bombs, and if you hit 38 bombs, you don't care about a 27% strikeout rate if you get 38 bombs. That's like, strikeouts are one thing and they suck, but if you hit a bunch of homers, then it's okay.
Yeah. All right. Well, I mean, do you think that you are convinced they will do something, and you are still convinced that person, that Harry Ford, will be traded at the deadline?
I mean, like, I think that he's the most logical piece in terms of what they have to trade, what they have on their big league roster. And I don't think that they necessarily want to do it. It's just like, you have to give up talent to get talent.
Right.
So he would be a fit, One of the infielders will have to be traded, I'm guessing, one of their middle infielders. And you just hope, the thinking is you got to draft and develop. So to replace those guys. So, yeah, I think so. I mean, again, it might not be the way we look at it. Maybe it's somebody on the Rays or, the Rockies are so terrible. They don't ever trade anybody. But I do think too they got to get a reliever. I don't care if Logan Evans comes up. I don't care if Santos comes back. You get another reliever. They just do.
When did Hollander give a timeline at all on Logan Evans?
No, he just kind of said they're hoping sometime around the All-Star break. It's probably largely based on how he pitches down there. He's been outstanding, but like they build him up, so I think he's had 3 or 4 relief appearances. When you see him go 2 out of 3 days or else back-to-back days, that's when you know he'll be ready.
Okay. And Santos?
Still moving along. I mean, I would think by the All-Star break.
Okay.
He hasn't gone. He's thrown off the mound, but he hasn't gone out until he gets out into a rehab situation. He can't. And I would imagine he'll make 5 rehab appearances before he comes back.
Where are we at with Ty France?
He hit in the cage yesterday, so I expect him to be back here rather quickly.
Hey, I'll say this real quick. Whether he's been working with Perry Hill or whatever the deal is, the knock on Locklear was he's not that really good defensively over first base. He's looked pretty good to me.
Yeah, he's been adequate. I mean, the ball, the knock on Locklear and Bliss isn't the spectacular or the tough plays. Whatever you take those. Perry Hill calls them the plays in the box, 2 steps to your right, 2 steps to your left. What you deem as largely routine or plays that need to be made.
Correct.
That's what they kind of, that's where they've struggled, the ball at them. I mean, we saw Locklear the other day go to the glove side or the first base side, and the ball gets past them. It was ruled a hit. Does Ty France catch it? Maybe, I don't know. Scout texts me, he's like, well, that's the one, that play's got to be made when you don't hit enough, when your team doesn't hit enough.
Yeah.
But I think they've improved because they've bought into what Perry Hill's teaching them, and I do think too, like when you're up here working with him every day, you get better quicker too.
Yeah. All right, last thing for you. It's Father's Day on Sunday. You got a funny story? Does your dad have a funny quirk? I've told this many times before. My dad would pee outside. He preferred to urinate in our backyard. Your dad do anything funny, anything odd that you can recall growing up in beautiful Havre, Montana?
Well, like when we built this house or whatever, and he had his backyard, and it was perfect for like backyard wiffle ball.
Yeah.
I mean, it was beautiful. But my dad treated that backyard and his yard like Augusta National.
Oh, beautiful.
And so we weren't allowed to walk on the grass. Ever. Like, we couldn't play on the grass. You couldn't put a pool up. You couldn't put a slip and slide. You couldn't play wiffle ball. He was like, go play in the street. He literally told us to go play in the street.
Well, there's no one in the street. It's a town of like 5 people.
And then, if it wasn't the street, he said, well, we had this open field. And so he went out there and, like, kind of dug up some of the weeds and stuff. And he goes, here's a baseball field. There's rattlesnakes out there. He goes, run faster.
All right. You told us this week you're what are you, dad rad?
Step rad.
Step rad. Yeah. What, we got anything planned? Are you going to get something? I mean, Father's Day? You're not going to get anything? Okay.
No.
You want anything?
No.
Okay.
I want to be 10 years younger. Can you do that? Got a time machine?
We can. I just want to be left alone to watch golf. That's all I want.
Yeah, that's all I want too. I barely watch the U.S.
I know.
Open.
Well, first of all, you can't watch it because there's some idiotic decision. They put it on a Peacock, so no one can find it. There's no replay of the damn thing. And then Golf Channel has ruined Live From. They didn't even do Live From last night, or they did it once, and there's no re-air of it. I can't get my Brandel take. And it's just awful. They've ruined whatever this U.S. Open is, and it's a great leaderboard. You got Cantlay's at 5 under now. Bear is at 5 under. My guy DeChambeau finished with a 69 today. He's 1 shot off the lead. Rory is at 3 under. So it's a great leaderboard. But can we watch the goddamn golf, please?
I can't deal with Cantlay. He plays slower than Curtis. I mean,
that's a close one. Yeah.
Curtis gets mad when we say this too.
Well, he's really slow.
Mad. I mean, he'll be listening.
Slow golfer.
Curtis will be listening to this podcast at like 2:30 or 3 in the morning when he's working out
on his way to LA Fitness.
Yeah. So, then I'll get a text at like 3 in the morning. Shut up, you're an ass.
Yeah.
No, like I still play faster than you. Like whatever.
Oh, God, it's this when he does the putting. Oh God, just hit the ball. All right, you're the best. Thank you for doing a live edition today. Okay, we're out of our comfort zone. We did the Daily Puck Drop was live with special guest Chris Egan, who joins us every Friday here at Puck Sports. His weekly appearance brought to you by Fat Zach's Pizza, and of course we do Ryan Divish every Friday as well, and every Wednesday brought to you by Chalet Bowl. Shout out to chaletbowl.com. Make your next reservation for bowling, family, and fun there at Chalet Bowl. Big thanks to Reggie Fedrick and the family there at Chalet Bowl. All of these, the Daily Puck Drop, Chris Egan, Ryan Divish will all be podcast later, wherever you find your podcasts, Apple, Spotify, YouTube, and, of course, everything at pucksports.com. You're the best. Go get a workout in, and we'll talk to you next week.
All right, sounds good, man.
All right, we'll talk to you on Monday, everyone. Have a wonderful weekend. As always, we promise to be better.